who are joining us remotely to ask questions. So we're going to go through this quick slide deck, and then we're going to do some training on phone banking. And while the people in the Zoom meeting are doing the training on phone banking, we'll take some Q&A from the folks on YouTube. So, all right, let's get started. Okay, so for folks that are new, what is this group? What is the Humanity First movement? So this is the network that evolved out of the Yang 2020 campaign volunteers from across all 50 states and abroad. And we're working with Andrew Yang's Humanity Forward nonprofit to kind of grow the ideas from the Yang 2020 campaign to kind of take over the country with our ideas. So there are 2 Slack workspaces that we're working in. Not necessary to join Slack. Folks can be in their Discords, Twitter, Reddit, wherever you're currently participating, Facebook, that's a good place to be. But this Humanity Forward Rapid Response Slack, this is where Humanity Forward is requesting people come to take immediate volunteer action in coordination with Andrew and Humanity Forward. So that is calling for candidates. That is the micro grant. So then we also have the Slack where we had been doing volunteering during the campaign, the what used to be Yang 2020 Slack .slack.com, but now is hfmovementslack.com. And this is where the network of state and local chapters are building to work in parallel. So we want you to join us. The next thing is, this is our network so far. So there are 13 active states and 10 are active and coordinating in the national Slack, and 5 have rebranded themselves as Humanity Forward Arizona or Humanity Forward Movement or Humanity First Movement Iowa. And so the Gulf Coast states, you can see this Eventbrite link, they're having a hang to reactivate Texas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, and Florida. And, just being neighborly, they're inviting Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Georgia. So the next meeting for all of the states network is this Wednesday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So we hope to see a lot more states coming out to join us. Then there's a lot of great action. I'll skip this slide for now, but really amazing stuff that all the states are doing at this time. So we hope you'll be joining again. Next Sunday in this meeting, we're going to be voting for the new board. So for this national network, the board meets with Humanity Forward on behalf of the national network. And then another thing that's happening is a group under this testifyforubi.com. They have received an invitation from Representative Tim Ryan to go testify before Congress. For more information about that, go to testifyforubi.com. And they're doing live rehearsals for that on the 23rd. Join in and convince Congress about emergency UBI. Let's see. Then we just want to give a big shout out to the 40+ volunteers that have been actively calling people to get them those $250 cash micro grants. So when folks apply on the movehumanityforward.com website, they get emails and texts to verify their PayPal information, and the bulk of them just get that done, and then boom, $250. However, some folks have some trouble, and that's who the COVID phone bankers are calling. So this week, though, that team made 250 calls. They, overall distributed over $1 million to almost 5,000 people. So super big thank you to the team that is doing that work. There is self-training to go to this bit.ly/COVID caller training. That is one of the best and most rewarding things you can do. I mean, when people need it, $250 goes a really long way. Then candidate support. This is the other critical thing. As you've seen over social media, Andrew Yang has been endorsing candidates, and since this slide was made, there's been even 2 or 3 more people endorsed. If you have candidates in your state, there's a whole process of submitting them up to endorse within your states or see if Humanity Forward will endorse them. So come on in. And at this point, this is where I'm going to turn it over to some of the folks for training. I don't know if this wants to be Tom or Colleen wants to do the kind of candidate support phone banking trainings.
There we go. I'm unmuted. Yes, I'm more than happy to jump in and contribute a little bit.
Okay. Do you want me to show something in particular on the screen, or what would you like?
I think
Constantinides training materials.
Yes, I think I don't have his specifically pulled up. I do have a sample Open BPB as well as a sample dialogue from, I believe, our friends over at Russ's campaign. Colleen, if you're able to pull up the stuff for Costa, that could be a very good place to start.
Okay.
All right. And there we go.
While they're getting all that material ready, what we're going to do in the Zoom room is they're going to kind of role play that, and then we're going to go send everyone here out into breakout rooms to kind of practice phone banking. And then Carlos and I are going to take and answer questions from the YouTube audience. So you should be able to screen share.
I don't want to maybe I need to
All right, let's see. If either of you guys want to send me the things, I can screen share for you.
Yes, let me send a couple links your way right now.
Awesome. Thank you. While we're waiting for that, does anyone that's here in the Zoom meeting have any questions?
What's going to
So
happen
are we
in
practicing?
Liz?
I was just going to say, why don't you just tell us how the format is going to be in the breakout rooms?
I think the format in the breakout rooms will just be folks practicing as if they are candidate phone banking. So these, let's see if I can pull up the slides that Tom you. And open BBB sample.
Catherine, I did have a question about the map of candidates we were showing.
Yeah, it hasn't been updated for the most recent ones.
Okay, good. I was making sure because I know Mike in Kentucky's running a couple other people, so it's like, ooh, I want to make sure we got our graphics right on socials.
All right, Carlos, I'm sorry, Angela, you had a question too while we're kind of navigating our technical.
Oh, you already answered it.
Okay. Verify and someone sounds like they're having a really nice day. There are birds in the background. Okay, well, we will go with this as that session. All right, let me screen share this again. Whiteboard fixed. All right. All right. Present. Okay. So you log into OpenVPB you receive after you sign up. And then, Tom, can you see these?
Yes, I can. Okay. Yeah, how long would you like me to cover and do some basic training on how to phone bank and start making an impact tomorrow?
Yeah, I'd say take the 5-10 minutes, whatever you decide. And who would someone volunteer to role play the person who is receiving the call?
Yeah, sure, I'd be down for that.
All right, thank you, Andrew.
Oh, perfect. All right, well, we will start with just a general sense of phone banking tips, tricks, what the actual dialers that you might be using would look like. And then we'll do a quick dive into an example. So thank you so much for volunteering for that. Catherine, I believe you're the one doing the screen share. Could we jump to slides 11 and 12 on this?
Okay,
Um,
here's 11.
It doesn't look to be moving. I'm not sure if that's just on my screen. I'm only seeing.
All right, let's see. Screen share, and then we are in. Do you see it now?
I'm seeing the main screen. You're hovering your mouse, and it's on slide 8.
Do you
Okay.
see key tips to phone banking now?
Yes, there we go. Okay, perfect.
Apologies for the technical difficulties, all. Thank you for your patience.
Yes, if we can jump to slide 11. So as we're making that transition, basically the reason why phone banking is so important is it is an opportunity to have a conversation with a voter, and not just a voter, but a potential volunteer, a potential supporter that's going to go out and influence others. It's truly just having a conversation. And right now, most of the candidates that we're seeing are going through primaries. In the case of Nate McMurray in New York, he is going through a special election. They are all in what's called Get Out the Vote, GOTV stage. They are trying to do everything they can to just boost that last little bit of name recognition and motivate people to the polls. So that's what we're trying to do with this phone banking. There's a reason why donations at this stage of a campaign aren't that valuable. They can't spend it quick enough, but they can phone bank. Doing online pushes and social media pushes are at this point not reaching too wide of an audience, but a phone bank can allow you to reach voters that haven't been touched yet. And in a state like Kentucky, where there's 120 counties, most of which are rural, you can see the impact that that could have. So that is why we're phone banking. That is why it's absolutely the #1 stress thing for you to do direct action today. So with that in mind, let's switch over to slides 11 and 12. We're still on the key tips to phone banking. It should be, I think, slides on general best practices. Perfect.
Okay.
So you'll see this is what one of the candidates has come up with. A number of candidates have done similar Q&As, things that just guide you through the process, but they're all relatively similar. And the basic takeaways are always go in with a sense of what the purpose of the call is. At this stage, we are trying to get information. Are you planning to vote? Have you voted already? If you're planning to vote, which candidate is it going to be for? Okay, thank you, let's move on. It's having that mindset of let's just run through the numbers, and it makes it a little bit more fun of an experience because you don't get disappointed if it's not the greatest conversation, if it still hits that goal. You'll see there is a emphasis on sticking to the script. All of the different ways that you're dialing will have a script built in so that you can go through, see the questions you need to answer. Yeah, we can actually pull up a sample open VPB or auto dialer link, which also gives you just a sense of what that looks like. But the script is your guardrail. It lets you know, as long as I hit these basic points, it is a good enough conversation, we can make a difference. The one that popped up earlier is the phrase, it's okay not to know. That's something that we stressed a lot during Andrew Yang's campaign because he had a lot of policies, and anything beyond some of the core ones, you may not get into the nuance of it. So being able to say, I'm not sure of that, but I can attest to these things, or I'm not sure of that, can I follow up with you, is a good way to address a question that you may not have an answer to. It's perfectly fine to brush that off and loop back around. So those are just some general tips to make it a fun experience, know what you're trying to do when you go in and have the conversation. So I think that is a perfect transition into doing an example. So who was the phenomenal volunteer that's willing to do a sample call with me?
Yeah, I volunteered to sample.
Oh, perfect. I'm not seeing.
That thing didn't open up. It was an invalid Open VPB link.
Okay, that may have been one that just expired this morning then. Okay, good
Let me
to know.
pull up the Costa one from.
Yeah. All right, and was that, sorry, Don, was that Dawn that was volunteering? I couldn't see whose screen was
Oh,
hiding.
is my name? Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay. I don't know how I got renamed, but that's weird. We'll just do that. All right, much
Oh,
better.
there we go. I'm not sure if I know a Dawn, but okay,
Yeah,
perfect.
no,
Thank you so much, Andrew.
Zoom be crazy today.
It really does. So we can do just a quick sample call and then pass it on over. So let's just imagine we're, oh, yes, Catherine?
Screen sharing. I hope this is big enough that you can see it. I can see if I can try to up the size of it. Can you see this Costa Constantinides script?
Yes, I can. All right, let me buy myself a little more room. Perfect. All right, let's start the call. Hi, is this Andrew?
Yeah, this is.
Oh, hey, Andrew. My name's Tom. I'm a volunteer with Costa Constantinides, right here running for the Queensborough president.
Okay.
Yeah, have you heard much about him?
I think I might have seen one of my friends post like a Facebook thing on him, but I'm more familiar with the other candidate in the race.
Okay, hey, that's a perfect place to start, and we're still spreading the word as we get into this final sprint. So I just wanted to start off by letting you know that we do have, actually, we're going to put a pin in that no longer applies because we are so close to the election. Yeah, well, I guess if you know a little bit more about the candidates, what are some of the big things that drive you to the polls? What are some of those things that are motivating you this election?
Definitely healthcare. Healthcare is my big importance here, and then probably economic security right now as well.
Yeah, well, that's one of the beauties of what Costa is running on, is the idea of community and making sure that everybody is working in concert. He's seen, especially over these past few months, the importance of having that integrated system. And so one thing that he's constantly pushing for is that sense of community that you see work into healthcare, that you see work into the way that we support each other economically. That's what he's pushing for with the new Queens.
Okay. What's his background? What does he do for a living?
Yes. So this is where I wish we had picked a candidate I've worked with personally. So,
Okay, let's
um,
pretend this is Jermaine that you're phone
oh,
banking.
fantastic. Well, we'll pivot real quick. Um, so yes, Jermaine has been a dedicated person within the community here in South Carolina. He's actually served on the Jim Clyburn Fellowship, which we all know is just he's been a true leader in Democratic politics for quite a while. And the fact that he's a fellow is a big part of that. He's been a member of the local recreation board. So all those new swimming pools that finally started to open up recently, that was him. He's making your summers wonderful. And he
Nice.
also
All
does
right.
a consulting firm, which is really cool. He's trying to help a lot of neighborhoods, entrepreneurs, people that are trying to build their own way, have that kind of support.
Okay.
So yeah, just a
Wh-
little taste.
all right. And then what are some of Mr. Johnson's big policies? What is his like three main issues?
So he was actually a campaign director that led the work here in South Carolina for Andrew Yang's campaign. I don't know if you heard much about his big presidential run.
Yeah, I remember something about him. He was on the debate, right, with Klobuchar and Steyer and all them, right?
Yeah, so that big concept of a universal basic income that was on Andrew's platform, that's also a big part of what Jermaine's pushing for.
Okay.
He's seeing the challenges that people have with economic insecurity, that a lot of the money is getting pulled out of his district entirely, and then people are fighting for the same scraps. So it just makes it a difficult experience for people. Why not try and support everybody and demonstrate their value as people?
Okay. Where's Mr. Johnson's funding for this proposal coming from? Because I know Mr. Yang had a couple interesting ideas, but that seemed to be more of a national scale, his idea.
Right, and it does differ whether you're doing it at the national, regional, state, or even local level. What he's been proposing is something at the state level that he'll bring into the State House of Representatives. It is focused on cutting a few budget line items and making sure that uh, the shift that we're seeing in how we provide support to the people within South Carolina, that we're making it more universal. So it's taking a lot of the funds that are already existing and shifting some of that bureaucracy in a way that's more effective.
Okay. Yeah, I'll probably do a little bit more research on him, but he sounds pretty interesting.
Well,
I might
here
consider
is
voting.
the thing, though, Andrew. We do have his election coming up this Tuesday, so there's not a lot of time to do major research. What we're trying to do is get people to have that final spark. So when you're getting up, you've got that final question on your mind. What's going to get you to go to the polls?
Okay. All right. I don't really know what to do from here now.
I think that's a good place to call it. But if you're just going through that, what you'll see is people don't always have the perfect answer. It's perfectly fine to step back and hesitate a little bit, carry the conversation like it's a conversation. You're just talking to another person. You're just hoping to inspire them to see the world a little bit closer to the way that you do, in a way that leads them to vote for someone that you believe in. So have the conversations. You'll hear us say the cheesy kind of phrase, smile while you dial, but it absolutely works. And it's just a fun way to get involved. So I'll work with Catherine to share some of the different slides so that everybody has a way to sign up and participate and assist all of the different candidates that we have that are going up on Tuesday, June 23rd, for election in Kentucky and New York. So yeah, there we go. I'll pass it on over.
Okay, what we're gonna do is send folks out into breakout rooms of 3 or 4 to just kind of practice phone banking. And what I would say is we're just gonna practice like the GOVT phone banking, and we're in the process of looking for kind of a good script to share. But if we don't find that, what I would say is, practice with the other folks that are in your room, even if you feel very comfortable yourself. You being there helps some other folks as well. So just the same way you made phone banking for Jermaine or for Andrew, that GOVT kind of call to action where you're like, okay, the election is this Tuesday. Have you heard of this candidate? Will you support them? And let's do this practice and kind of help more people kind of onboard and come into doing the GOVT work for the candidates that are coming up over the next month and beyond. All right, any questions here before I send folks out into breakout rooms?
Just that I found another open VPB. They are constantly updating them. And so a link that works yesterday may not work today. So this one should be live
Nice.
and could be a good example.
Okay, this has an actual voter on it. So I'm just going to scroll down to, this is for Mike Breuer's campaign. So I will screen share to show this to you. And then folks can log in here. If at least one person in each of the breakout rooms logs in, then you can practice with this. But just to show everyone what we're going to go in. So for Mike Breuer, my name is Catherine and I'm calling for Mike Breuer's Senate campaign in Kentucky. I hope you and your family are safe. How have you been doing during this pandemic? Conversation. Okay, public records indicate that you are a reliable voter. So you probably already know the primary is coming up. Do you plan to vote by mail or on election day? And then you would fill out an option. And can Mike Breuer count on your support in the US Senate primary coming up this Tuesday, June 23rd? They say what they say. And if they're very strong for him, that's great. Please visit mikeforkentucky.com/ballot. It's too late, I think, to request the ballots, and tell 3 of your friends. And then if they say no, then just say, well, visit Mike for Kentucky to learn more. Thank you for your time. And if they're a supporter for one of the other 2 candidates, then, there is kind of a thank you closing. And then for Charles Booker, thank you closing. And, help answer questions for how they find their polling place and anything like that, if they are a Mike for Kentucky supporter.
Catherine, do you mind if I add one point to that?
Yes.
So like she just mentioned, if there is someone that is a clear no, a clear supporter of one of the other candidates, at this stage of GOTV, of getting out the vote, we are trying to mobilize those people that are most passionate about the candidates that we're supporting, as opposed to trying to convince people and persuade them. That was an earlier stage, and now it truly becomes a numbers game. It's a weird part of politics, but it's kind of fun if we view it that way. So when you're getting those people that are very explicitly in one corner, you do thank them, but you try and move on as quickly as you can. It is not worth the effort to do that persuasion. So yes.
Okay. I saw a hand with GPS.
Just to add to what Tom said, if they're clearly going to vote for another candidate, the best thing you can do is thank them tremendously for participating in our democracy. Like, just showing our humanity first values and making sure they're being civically engaged is very important to us. And for anything, we should be thankful for that too. So yeah.
All right. All right, sending folks off to breakout rooms. All right, and assign. All right, and all right. We'll see you in 15 minutes. All right, let's see. Carlos, are you still here? Okay, yeah, you're the only one I didn't assign. And so I'm going to try to reopen the questions that we got from before. That is fine. All right, audience tools. How do I go back? Oh, I think I probably killed it. Okay. When I need to share another screen, how do when I need to share another slide deck, how do I keep the questions open? I think probably what happened was I killed the, okay, let's see. All right, because some folks haven't joined one of the breakout rooms, I might have to go in and remake. So one of the rooms is short 2 people. Let's see. The unshare. Yeah, if you don't see anyone in there, I think it'll just be kind of Q&A and you know, we had wanted to, like, while folks were in the breakout rooms, answer questions for folks on YouTube. Okay, we can redo the slides and then share a new, you know, for the 3 people that are in there. Do you have a sense that they just joined? Okay. 7:50. Wow, that was like a whole half hour before the. Oh, okay, I see. Yeah, which makes sense because, you know, they saw all the presentation and then we got into like the technical difficulties and then people were like, thanks. Okay. Let's see. Let me go find that YouTube link and then I can kind of see if they're chatting in the. Copy. Kevin. Yeah, that's awesome. I see Fang in there and somebody from Blair. There was low audio. I don't know if that's my mic or. All right. Yeah, every single person in the chat, other than Orange Angel, I know all of them. Oh, hey, buddy guy, friend pal. I don't know who that is. Okay, yeah, you might as well kill it. I don't think it's going to get better.